Hello.
Hey, Tren.
Hello, Lou. How are you today?
Not too
Yeah, yeah,
shabby.
still stinking hot.
It is,
Yeah.
and we're at the 24th of December.
Yes, so Merry Christmas to those who celebrate.
Yes, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. I am one who celebrates.
Yes, we
So
celebrate.
yes,
Yes,
Merry
yes,
Christmas.
and looking forward to the break.
Yeah, we are. We are looking forward to a break.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
what are we
Anyway,
doing beforehand? Oh, wait.
we're going to tell you about ourselves.
We're going to tell you about ourselves, right?
Yeah. So I'm Tren,
I'm Lou.
and we're the tarot dealers.
We are.
And we don't like to say this, but we've got lots of experience.
Yeah, we do. Half a century. That's
Yeah, no, we're not, no, do not put it like that. That sounds worse than what it is.
so lots of experience and lots of times we've seen lots of changes as we've
Yes,
navigated our way on this tarot journey.
exactly. Yes. So, and Lou is a published author. She has a book
Thank you,
called The
Tran.
Tarot Tells.
Yes, I do. The tarot
So,
tells. It's been like my lifetime of reading in the making. I'm really excited about it. It's a modality that I have created. I do believe that as readers, a lot of readers do this naturally,
yeah,
but maybe not so much aware of it. So this has been about me bringing that into the conscious awareness
yeah,
so that we can expand as readers collectively.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And you can find that on Lou's website.
Yes, you can. www.lulufletcher.com.au. You can also find it on Amazon
Oh,
and I think it's a couple
all
other
the other
places.
places.
Yeah. However, yeah, my website's the
Yeah, it's
easiest.
the
So,
easiest. And there's lots
yeah,
of other really cool stuff on Lou's website.
yes, there is lots of freebies and lots of smaller little workshop courses
Yeah,
online, some face to face, some you get personal interaction, right up to the really big things where you get
yeah.
to work with me in a whole program.
And all on one too.
Oh, yes, in one-on-one. Yes, do that too. And
Yes.
Ren has her own modality as
Yes,
well, which is tapping and tarot.
exactly.
Tren takes the approach that it's really important that you work your emotions through. They come up for a reason, they're telling you something, and sometimes we can't get to what that is.
Mhm.
So this is where Tren's unique modality comes in really, really handy. So she does the tapping with it. So it can help you dive deeper into the tarot itself by
Exactly.
uncovering blocks and things there that maybe you weren't aware of when it comes to certain cards or a whole reading,
Yeah,
like heaps of different ways that she can explain
exactly
about
about
that.
that. Yeah.
But also, if a reading causes you emotion, or even if you're just emotional about something, so she does the tarot and tapping, and she just does
And
tapping.
tapping. So, yeah,
So great modality. It releases somehow just tapping
yeah.
on those
And those points and those
places.
meridian points
Yeah.
that we all have. We all have those points. And it's
Yeah.
quite simple just to tap through. And a lot of times we can just release things that we've been hanging on to forever.
Yeah, or bring in an awareness,
Yeah,
which is what the tarot and tapping is,
yeah,
about bringing in that awareness,
yeah,
right? And she does that so well and so beautifully.
yeah,
It's such a gentle process. Definitely recommend reaching out to Tren.
yeah,
You can get Tren on our socials
yeah.
or via our email.
Email, which is the tarotdealers@gmail.com.
Yeah, there
So,
you go.
yeah,
So
contact
there's
us.
a whole range of ways to work with us, and we know firsthand the frustration of what it's like when you're starting, and you
Yes.
may not have the support you need, or you may not understand, or you think this is too overwhelming, too big.
Yeah,
My role in that, as I see it, is to uncomplicate it and make it
exactly.
really
Really
simple because
simple.
I get it. I remember what it was like only too well. So
Yeah.
now I'm able to share that knowledge,
Exactly.
and Tren has a
And yeah,
similar
exactly. Yeah,
experience.
exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, when you start, it's overwhelming. You've got 78 cards and you're trying to remember 78 meanings.
Yeah.
No,
And it's not actually about remembering.
it's not about that
Yeah,
at all.
it's not about that. So it
Yeah.
can be, and that will develop over time, but there's no need to put the pressure on,
No,
right? So
don't do
anyway,
that.
we're giving away too
Yeah,
many
yeah,
secrets.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you want to work with us, reach out.
Yeah, come on. Come
Yeah.
on, contact us and we'll organise times to meet up with you.
Absolutely. Have a chat, do all the things. We'll
Yes.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
Today, I thought that we might look at the chakras and tarot.
The chakras and tarot, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it comes
interesting.
speaking of the energy
Yeah.
systems, right? This is another energy system that we have. So we're going to talk about that. All right. So while I was sitting there working out
Oh,
I.
yeah, didn't it?
So both of us could not find our tower cards.
No, we couldn't. We couldn't.
We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then it also happened with the moon.
It did.
Like
what?
Both
So
of us couldn't
both of
find.
us those cards, and just now. So we think about the tower
Tower.
rather, is this sudden unexpected things that happen, and we both like didn't have that.
Yeah.
It's also ideas and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's the breakthroughs and the breakdowns and all of that. I
All the
love
stuff,
the
yeah.
tower because it's speaking into the new.
It is, isn't it? And even though sometimes it can look like a frightening card, I think it's wonderful because it's
Yeah.
breaking down what doesn't work anymore.
Absolutely. And funny, we both couldn't find that, right? So it's kind of speaking, oh, maybe there's some new shit they're going to do,
Exactly.
you know? And the moon, right, is about, again, hidden stuff, right? It can be that hidden stuff, but it can also be that stuff that was coming up to this, from the subconscious up to the conscious, and also to trust your intuition,
Yes.
right? And maybe things aren't quite as they seem.
Yeah, yeah. The illusion may be clearing, like
Yeah,
reality may be
clearing.
yes. Coming up and hit you in the face sometimes.
It's another what the fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, another story. So yeah, we just wanted to share that because that was quite an interesting thing that happened.
A funny thing, and it was like it was quite independent of each other, wasn't it?
Independent of each other, and yet the same, right? So I dare say we worked well together.
Exactly.
Funny as. But yeah, back to the topic.
Yeah, let's get back on task.
Okay, so chakras and tarot. So the chakras, what are they? For those of you who don't know, they are our energy centers, and we're only going to work with 7 today. So 7 main ones that run through our body, and they start at the very base of our spine and work all the way up to our crown. And we're going to run through that shortly. But they're kind of like the interface between the physical being and the emotional being and the spiritual space, right? So that's what interconnects us. So when we say energy centers, what is that about? So I don't know if you've heard of the word chi or prana.
Heard of chi before.
Yeah, so prana is the same thing. Lots of different words for the same thing, which is just basically our energy system. And the idea is that the chakras can tell us about our health. They can tell us where we're at on all these different levels, mental, spiritually, emotionally, right? So the idea is to get the energy moving freely through all chakras so that we are in alignment and open to receiving and able to give and do that in a balanced form, right? So the word chakra actually is a Sanskrit word, which is just like ancient language, and it actually means like disc or spinning wheel, or wheel or spinning disc. That's what it means, right?
Yeah.
So that's just what it means, and Sanskrit is just the ancient language, right? Yeah. So lots of Sanskrit words in this spiritual space, and that just happens to be one of them. So I was supposed to print out a little sheet and forgot. I've just read my notes and gone, oh my God, forgot. So basically 7 chakras. So we start with our base chakra, which is sometimes known as the root or the base. Its color is red. So they'll all have a color assigned to them. They govern a certain part of the body. The base chakra, red chakra, root chakra governs our adrenal glands, so our flight, fight, freeze, fawn system. It definitely governs that, as well as our bones, our teeth, all the dense part of ourselves, right? That's what that does. So, and they each do different things, right? But for the exercise, we're just going to look at the tarot and how that relates to it, and then I'll talk more about each chakra as we go along.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, and this is all open for discussion, so not everyone's going to agree with this, and that's okay. Now, this information I got from, what was the name of that site?
Soul Connection.
Soul Connection, right? So this isn't all mine. Some of it is mine, but not all of it. I got a fair chunk of this from a website called Soul Connection, so you might want to go check that out too. So I found that really interesting. So there's 2 ways that we're going to look at how to recognize when the tarot is trying to speak to us or bring awareness to a particular chakra, which might be talking about health, which might be talking about spirituality, which could be talking about the mental space, right? But we're connected to that chakra. So the first one we're going to look at, and we're using 2 decks today.
Yes, we are.
One is the Rider-Waite, and the other
one is the Modern Witch tarot deck. Yeah, yes, it's playing with that.
It's like me with the dragons a few months ago.
Yes,
yeah. And I still play with my dragons, so yeah, cool. So the root chakra, considered, it talks about the male reproductive organs in this particular
information.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but in this particular one, this is the justification around it, right? So we look at the Emperor.
So Lou's got the Rider-Waite and I've got the Modern Witch.
Right. So funny, because the Modern Witch, like, looks like it's a more feminine energy. Yeah. However, remember, it's the energy behind the figure. So it's driven. Yeah. Think about what the Emperor is. It's driven, it's a driving force. Notice the red.
The passion, isn't it?
Yeah, the red, the passion, and the chakra is red.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one way, one card to recognize, like if you get the chakras drop into your head, like if you set the intention, I want to know about the chakras, and depending on which card comes up, you'll know which energy system you're working at. And then the card can tell you, based on what you see, feel, and know, what is it I need to do with this? Yeah. Is it open? Is it blocked? How do I best work with it? What's happening, right? So this is one idea. This is another, which is the devil. So think about the devil, right? Now the base chakra, interesting, can be, if you think about can be like really materialistic. It can be, and if it's physical things, that it can be addiction, right? Which is temptation, isn't it? Yeah, and temptation, right? Because it's this earthly thing. Yeah. It's grounded. Right? So right there. So this might tell you that maybe you're stuck in there. Whereas the Emperor is more about the marching forward, right? And the taking charge. Whereas this here is saying, I might be a bit stuck in that space. Mm-hmm. So we look at then, which way am I going? The world.
The world.
So the world being open and free, right? Also completed. Yeah. Now we've got a lot of noise going on, so I am just going to pause for a second.
Just hang on.
So we look at the world, and the world, I feel like, like the world speaks about completion and expansion and things like that. So I feel like it might be a sign to maybe expand, depending how you're feeling, maybe expand, work in that space, or maybe time to be comfortable in that space. Because see on here, on the Rider-Waite, she literally, the red is at the bottom. It is at the top too, but near her feet where we're grounding, which is at the base chakra, right?
It is on this one, but on the Rider-Waite, it's more larger and solid, whereas it is on here, but it's just quite literally, it's just the infinity symbol down the bottom and top. But it's not as obvious.
Not as obvious.
It's not as obvious.
Not as obvious. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we have the Death card, right? So maybe we need to change that out completely. Maybe we need to start from scratch with our chakras in that space, so.
Or sweep out all the crap that we're hanging on to.
I love that. So that is
that's the base chakra.
The base chakra. So then we're looking at the sacral chakra. And we're looking at, this is interesting, I'll pull this one out of here as well.
Get that one as well.
Yeah. So the sacral, which speaks to the feminine reproductive areas, right? And it's orange, right? And it's below our belly button, right? But not as far down
as your pelvis area.
As your pelvis area. So kind of in that space in there. Yeah. So it's kind of, just above your pelvis area, but beneath your belly button. So represents can in this particular thing represent the female reproductive organs, which is why we have the High Priestess, right? And it's a space.
I got the wrong one. High Priestess.
I'm like, what the fuck are you showing?
Okay, it looks wrong.
Aren't you glad we're human? So the High Priestess being, the trust of intuition, the trust of self, and revealing those parts of us that we choose to reveal, right?
It's very much a choice of what we reveal.
very much speaks into our intuition,
Yeah.
right? And the Empress is like, to me, that would be perfectly
Yeah.
balanced, aligned chakra. It's about the growth, the creativity, the abundance, which is exactly what that is.
Yeah.
On this, you'll notice on Tren's
Yeah.
card, there's lots of orange.
Lots of orange.
And mine, the orange sits up behind
Yeah.
her here.
It's also with I often think with the Empress, it's almost in a state of actually starting to know who we are.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Yeah.
that. Absolutely would agree with that,
Yeah.
right? That it is, I like that,
Yeah.
Jane. Yeah, I like that. Stay knowing who we are, right? And then there's also the death
The
card
Death card
to
again.
this, which I find interesting, but I understand it also because we birth
Yeah.
things, right? Through that space as a
Yeah.
woman.
As a
So
woman,
to
yeah.
me, that makes sense that would be there.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, if we're going to go into the masculine as well, we still are. I know it's not in the sacral area, but the masculine we can still birth things, can't
oh,
we? New
100%.
idea. So it's
Absolutely.
not just the feminine
Birth
side.
new relationships,
new projects.
yeah. New thoughts,
Yeah.
new ideas, new ways of
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So then we look at the solar plexus, which is yellow, and that sits above our navel and below our ribs.
Mhm.
So here we are looking at, what the fuck have I done?
What have you done now?
What have I done? No, wait, I've got it right. I'm
Got
like,
it
wait,
right.
so solar plexus.
This is the tower moment we're having.
This is the fucking tower moment, right? So the moon, all that hidden shit comes to the surface. We look at the chariot and notice how yellow
Yeah.
that is, right? And the chariot actually like represents Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, right? And this is about gut instinct, right? So the driving force, what's actually driving you in there. The
It's
sun.
funny. Yeah, it's funny when you just talk about the chariot. It's funny when you said the driving force. Both of those cards have a vehicle on it that the character is driving.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's another way. If you want to take, if that sort of resonated, that driving force is another way of remembering the chariot.
Yeah. Interesting, hey? Another way of remembering. I like that. And of course, there's the sun. Right? Love the sun.
Yeah.
The sun is all about the abundance. Notice the orange again. Oh, orange, it should be yellow.
It should be yellow.
Yeah.
So look at the sun.
I'm like, well, I just fucked that right up. There's blue before you guys. But yeah, so it is still about that lightness of being and shedding light on something and trusting your gut and that inner child, right? Allowing that inner child from deep within to actually come out. Yeah, but I like the sun for playfulness, right? And the solar plexus can very much be about that.
Yes.
Particularly when we're following our instincts and
following your gut, isn't it?
Being in that creative space also, because it's creation.
Yeah.
So what are we up to? Heart.
The heart.
Wow, the heart will kind of speak for itself, actually, I feel. And the cards that match, this person has actually suggested matching all the lovers, right?
Yeah, well, that would be obvious, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be obvious. Hey, my lovers are facing forward and yours are facing backwards.
And it was funny on the devil, they were the same. Yeah, I'll show you the devil. Where's the devil?
Oh, there you go.
Find the devil.
There's something, just a little something.
So I'm just going to show you, and it's really funny how they are both facing
backwards, and on the right away they face forwards. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing. So yeah, the heart would speak to love, of course.
Yeah. In
the sense, balance. Are we balanced in there with justice? You know, like what's right, what's our values? That all comes from a heart space, right? So this is where this is coming from. Strength. Now, strength I feel is here because in the heart space, strength can speak to compassion, self-compassion, compassion of others, self-forgiveness, forgiveness. So that comes from a heart space too. So I can see how that belongs in there quite easily. Temperance. How do we feel temperance belongs in there?
In the heart space.
Yeah, in the heart space. Is that like
I suppose coming back, finding that balance, isn't it? Finding that
being in flow, right? And I'm like,
I suppose if we're looking at the heart, that is the center between 3 below and 3 above, isn't it? So it's like the center. So it could be, you know, I was looking at the feet. So we've got 1 foot in the emotional, so the water, and 1 foot on the ground. So we could sort of say we're grounded on one and we're connected one way of looking at it.
Yeah, well, the heart is very much the center.
The
That's a
center.
really good point,
Yeah.
right? We have, because we're working with 7 main
Yeah.
chakras, right? So 3 below,
Below.
red, orange, yellow, and then green being the center, like the
Yeah.
gateway to move forward.
So yeah, maybe looking at it that way.
Yeah,
With temperance, with the temperance card.
that makes sense to me. I
Yeah.
can see it. Trent, see, that's why I need your healer. So we're moving on to the third,
The
the
throat.
throat, which is literally at the throat, and it's blue, and the heart was literally at the heart.
Yeah.
So, and it was green or pink, depending which
Yeah,
thought you
it's
come
and
from.
it's so good. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times I find when I'm going into a meditation, it's a heart meditation, both green and pink will come in and swirl around.
Just out of curiosity, show your Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups
Okay.
also can represent heart and love
Yeah.
and emotion. And it looks a bit blue on here,
Yeah,
but
it's actually green.
it's actually green.
Or a teal color, isn't it?
Yeah, green and pink.
So you've got the pink in the cup and the tealy blue, greeny down the bottom
Yeah,
in the water.
all of these little things
You've got to really look at things.
Got to look at it, really got to
Yeah.
look at it, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, moving on to the throat. So the throat sits right here and it's blue. Look at it, sky blue. So the magician. The magician. So he makes his magic happen, right? But you need to speak it
Yeah.
into being, right? You need to speak it into being.
Yeah.
Not enough to feel it. You need to speak it into being. So he is able to do that. So I feel like that's potentially what that is saying there. The Hierophant for the throat. What do you reckon there?
Hierophant for the throat.
She's got blue, or this figure has blue on their throat in the Rider-Waite deck.
And
yours is pink.
It's not, yeah.
Funny,
It is. And I think with the
Interesting.
Hierophant, I'm coming back to the magician, it's like, yes, we are speaking what we need to bring into being, but the Hierophant is very much coming from that power stage, I suppose. A little bit of power behind what you're saying. Oh, wrong way. I think the Hierophant confuses me just because of the name. Really.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it does mean like that tradition, conformity.
Yeah, it does. In other decks,
Yeah.
it was known as the Pope.
Yeah.
So it's, to me, how does this sit with
the
throat?
With the throat.
So maybe it's asking for that expertise, or
Yeah,
speaking,
I think.
into that expertise, or listening to what
yeah.
you're hearing.
Could actually be searching out that expertise too. That
Yeah,
you ask, like you said, you're asking for
asking
it,
for that, yeah, because the throat governs the way we communicate, right? So for one of the many things that it does. Yeah, interesting. I'm just wondering.
I'm just looking at this one, and this is on the modern witch. Oh, I will show, but she's quite tattooed up around the throat area, and it comes down the arms, sort of goes across.
Okay, yeah.
So it could be a form of self-expression, but you are actually speaking that. You're not holding it in.
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
Form of self-expression. Yeah. Wow. And then we have the wheel.
The wheel.
Now the wheel, apart from the blue background, it can have the meaning connected to it, which is like, I don't know, right? And things are moving, things are changing. It can be that. It can be the wheel of fate, it can be the wheel of fortune, but how the fuck does this connect to the throat?
With the throat.
How does that connect to the throat, do we think?
This is interesting. It's not really.
It's not jumping out and grabbing us, is it? And then you guys might work it out and let us know.
Yeah,
because
it's not obvious.
Yeah, it's not obvious to us.
Yeah.
So Wheel of Fortune, things change, things roll around, but I still don't get the piece.
The only thing I thought of with the Wheel of Fortune is because it's the throat, it's like talking things through, bringing it out and going around in circles until you get the answer. It's something like that, but it's just like, it's not enough to keep it inside and work it out. We have to speak and go round and round in circles until we get the solution that we need, I suppose.
Interesting. Let us know your thoughts. So we're looking at the third eye now. And the third eye, we have, where is she? The High Priestess.
We've got to find the High Priestess. We're going back.
There she is, the High Priestess. That to me kind of speaks for itself, and I am really like in agreement with that. I'm like, I can see that. That is,
She is.
She speaks to our intuition, right? We need to
Yeah.
trust that, and
So
trust
this is-
ourselves and
So
all
this
the
is, yeah,
things.
so the third eye is up between our eyes.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
and it's the color
It's actually-
indigo.
It is actually, in the modern witch, she's actually wearing the indigo color.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, so she's embodying that,
She
right?
is.
Very much embodying that. And there's a whole lot of symbology that goes
Yeah.
into these, but just as far as the chakras are concerned, this definitely, to me, resonates as one of the third eye
One of the
cards.
third, yeah, definitely.
One of the third eye cards. Another card that to me resonates is the Hermit. So the Hermit is where we are wise from our own experience, right? So that to me is where we're able to call on the higher self, all the learnings that we've had. That makes sense to me.
The inner wisdom, really, isn't it?
It is the
and it's not so
absolute
much,
inner
it's
wisdom.
looking within to find out things without having to go out into the
Instead of
external.
externalizing
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? Which a lot of us do,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, we,
Me
yeah.
too, you
And we
know.
don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our own wisdom.
So when we're looking at the third eye, from a reading point of view, then it would be, you need to trust yourself. The answer in this case, if it was the Hermit, is telling you to look within.
You've got the
So
answers.
you've got the answer. You don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And the moon might be telling you, because the moon could be distorted. So the moon might be saying, look, you know, just hold on a minute, just wait, with a little bit more light shone on this subject. You need, if your spidey senses are telling you that something is off, it's because it is. So that's the other thing about the moon. The moon is still intuitive, though.
Yes.
Very, very intuitive. So this is very much about discernment, particularly when we start working in the higher spaces.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Very much about discernment. So I'm in agreement with all of those for that third eye. And then we look at the crown. And the crown, the first card that is here is the Hanged Man. So, like, how does that connect to the crown? I'm thinking it's because things are turned upside down and we're looking at it from a different perspective. And the crown can give us that because it's it's huge.
It's overarching everything. It sees the big picture.
Sees the big picture. Yeah, sees the big picture.
And yes, and like you said, if the hangman comes out and we relate it to the crown, it's basically if we can turn the situation on the head. You know, we're looking at it one way, flip it.
Yeah, that would be, I think the message there would be to like flip this and look at this a little differently. The star to me connects to the crown in that it's about the dreaming and again all the bigger picture stuff, right? So it is saying to us, yes, follow your dreams. This is okay. Be open. It's okay to be in the spotlight. Like all of the things that the star would say, but notice that she's naked, so therefore she's free. She's liberated. She's a little vulnerable too, though, right?
Exactly.
However, the crown, related to the crown, it would be like it might be about opening that space. Right?
Basically embracing it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely embracing it. And then we have the Fool. So the Fool, the crown, literally, when you're connected to the crown, takes us to the wider
expansiveness,
universes, and it is expansive, and that's what this guy does. He's off on a journey to explore his world. So this will be asking you, I guess, to explore. I feel if this comes up, it might be explore spirituality, it might be explore other universes. Explore to me is what I see that as, and it's okay to be starting that journey. So that's does it make sense? So I'm agreeing with the majority of these, if that makes sense.
Yes. I'm just looking at this one, talking about moving on and expanding and exploring, but just also don't take a lot of baggage with you. Drop it off.
Yes, yes, I like that too. That's what they're saying. You don't need all that stuff.
You don't need all that stuff.
You don't need all that stuff. I think the final card, Judgment, right? It's where we're rebirthed and reborn. So if you're connected to your crown, you're gonna be a pretty open person who's connected to all things, information, receiving downloads, insights, codes, whatever you want to call it these days. That's what this is about. And it again, there's this element of allowance here. I feel like that's being open to, they're standing here and they're like being open to being rebirthed, reborn, and connecting to other realms is what I feel this is here. So I do feel that those cards, the way that that's done, apart from maybe one or two where I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure about that. But that's how you can identify which chakra maybe need work. I feel like this would be either something you're drawn to specifically, like you might be drawn to the chakras, or it might be where you've set the intention to say, show me my energy system, what needs working on, what, you know, and asking a series of questions around that. That's how I see that.
You know.
Yeah, that's one way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, another way, I mean, I'm thinking on my feet here, but it's another, you could actually set the intention and do a meditation on a particular card and go
for that chakra.
For that chakra.
Yeah.
You know, I feel blocked in the throat area. I'm looking at the magician. What do I need?
Yeah, absolutely. What tools do I no longer see? What tools have I forgotten I have? Because the magician has all the tools, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's beautiful. Another way. Suggestion. Yeah. Beautiful suggestion. So another way that we can do that is, and this is just a much simpler way, I feel. So we look at the pentacle, and the pentacle will represent our root chakra, right? So that represents our root because it's about the earth and connectedness. So you can draw a card from all the pentacles, and because it talks about health and wealth, but it's health and wealth in all things. So health and wealth in spirituality even, right? So that's what this is about. So you could draw a card and see, well, what's going on in my root chakra out of all the pentacles? What message am I getting from my root chakra that way? Yeah. Now the wands represent the sacral and the solar plexus. Now that's because it's about fire and creativity, which we kind of spoke of before. We were saying, oh, you know, there's creativity here and creativity there. So that's what the wands are about. So, and you would do the same thing. You would set out all your wands, give them a shuffle, draw a card. What is it for my solar plexus or my sacral that I need to be aware of? How can I best work with it, right? So that's that. Now, the cups are the heart. Now, it's funny because often the heart, strangely, in this particular way of working with them, is often thought of as air, but
that doesn't make sense.
No, but you look it up, and that's what a lot of people are saying. So to me, I'm like, no, it's a cup because it's love, right? I feel that represents love, and of course, it's love and or emotion. And water, right? Yeah. So you again would do the same thing, and you'll pay attention to what that water's doing. Yes. As to, is it what type of emotion am I dealing with here, or how can I free my emotion, or what needs to happen in my heart space? Is it open enough? You know, all of that. Am I giving too much, right? So that's what the cups can tell you. So the swords are for the throat, and to me this makes sense because it's communication. Right, we're back to communication, so this makes sense. It's the element of air. It talks about speaking. Yeah, so you know all the things. So again, same thing. If you're looking at your throat and you're like, you know, what's wrong with my communication? How do I get my message across? You would pull out all the swords, shuffle, and see how you can best work with this energy system, which is your throat, to see how you can then put your message forward. Now the crown, right? So if that's all the elements there, then what the fuck is the crown? So the crown is the major arcana, and it's the major arcana because it's the bigger picture. Exactly. And it's connecting us to new worlds. Remember that fool goes on that journey into a new world. So that's why it is talking about the major cards. So in that sense, you would same questions, right? Just with the major cards, you'll pull it out and go, okay, how can I connect more to the universe? How can I be more open to receiving? How can I, whatever your question is for how you want to connect to the bigger picture, right? So that's some ways that's really interesting. Yeah, isn't it? I thought it was something worth talking about. Yeah. So there's some ways that you can identify some blocks in your chakras working with tarot. Yeah, that's really good. And you can do that on your own. It does not have to be in a reading. No, it doesn't have to be in a reading. You can completely do that on your own. Yeah. If however it drops in your mind when you're doing a reading, then sure. Now you've got the information and then it drops in, you go, oh that's actually that. Right? But otherwise, I feel this is kind of like a standalone thing mostly. It's almost like a bit of a therapy thing, isn't it? Another therapy thing. There you go. So many ways to work with the chakras. So many ways. So hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, thank you for listening and watching. Yes, let us know your thoughts. Yeah, if you've got any other ideas or any
you know, if something doesn't, you don't agree with something, let us know.
Yeah, let's know, because it's all open, right?
Yeah.
For discussion, right? We're not the experts all
Oh,
the
no.
time in all of this, you know. There's
And
people been reading for some people been reading a lot longer than us,
longer than us,
you know.
and we're still learning.
Yeah,
So
I think we
yeah.
learn all the time, and with all the shift of energy, I have found, like ages ago too, that you could feel it coming through the cards, and the cards were starting to deliver messages
Yeah.
differently. And that started for me with timing. That timing
Yeah.
thing, I'm like, oh, this is my timing has never really been 100% precise, but it was like getting way out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? So yeah, I feel like the energies are different, and tarot evolves just as we do.
Exactly.
So there's many other ideas, many other concepts. Like we
Yeah.
said in the beginning, we have our own
Yeah,
modality.
exactly.
That's new, right?
Yes.
So there'll be other things that are new too, and
coming
other
in.
ways.
Yeah. So, and if you've got your own modalities, let us know.
Yes, we would
Yeah.
love to share.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there you
Okay.
go.
Thank you. Thank you for
Hope
listening
you've
and watching.
enjoyed that one.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time.
We will.
Oh, and Merry Christmas.
Yes. Have a safe holiday
Yes.
season.
Please be safe. Please hug your family, hug your friends. Just,
Yeah.
share the love.
Appreciate what you got right now. What
Yes.
say? Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups.
Lots of love.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.